Patty, I was just telling my husband, he asked me, oh, are you learning a lot? And I go, yeah. And he goes, oh, how much did you pay? And I said, you know what? I told him, and I go, I'm still getting my money's worth.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so
I
much.
think it's very reasonable,
Great.
considering what I paid through the years for class.
Yeah, no. And I love it that you guys send out so much information and all the scripts and why so much support. I mean, for me, thank you so much.
I love what I do, and I love giving out stuff. And if anybody, you know, it's all, hopefully we all share with each other. If there's something that any of you have that can help me to be a better trainer, to be a better hypnotist, I'd love to, you know, hear your input. We were talking about doing improv hypnosis, you know, thinking on your feet kind of thing. And it really did help me to take off on what Christy was talking about. I did theater for many years, and you never know what's going to happen when you're on stage. I mean, I could tell you some of the funniest stories that you would think I'm making them up. They're so ridiculous. But, you know, you can't just hit pause, rewind, and let's do this over like you can in film, you know, and that's what happens in these classes. You know, like I said, if you're, you know, be careful if somebody walks behind you and, you know, in their underwear or something or worse, you know, because once it's there forever nowadays. So, but it's, you know, in live theater, if something happens and with your client, you know, it's a great training. Acting is great training for hypnosis, because whatever happens, you got to use it. You got to figure out a way to make it fit. And like I said, I got some great stories. Maybe I'll do a separate class someday with, because I have a seminar I did at the conference a few years ago called Acting Like a Hypnotist. I think I did it at IACT. I did it somewhere. And it was just about that, about thinking on your feet. And, you know, it really is like a dance, you know. Michael Watson calls it the hokey pokey, you know, if anybody remembers that anymore. I do. You know, we're 1 foot in and 1 foot out. So you've got 1 foot in with your client, you know, detecting and listening and sensing and keeping that awareness so you don't miss anything what's going on there. And yet the other foot has to still be in control of the session. You're the guide. You can't step into it so much that you get lost in there with your client, right? And that's where that boundary thing, you know, people talk about, how do you create, I call it the bubble. I just call it that bubble, where once my client comes in, my stuff I clear before they come in, you know, and I've gotten really good at clearing. It's a good tool to learn for anybody, but I teach my clients too. And to me, it's about emptying out everything. My beliefs, my previous conceptions about what I thought they were coming for. I literally wait until they walk in the door, and then I pretty much have cleared even what they told me on the phone. You know, I mean, it's back there still. That's why it's the hokey pokey, you know. You still have it, but you don't want that to get in the way of you saying, okay, they're coming for this. I think I know what they need, before you even talk to them.
What do you do to clear, Patty? Just curious.
I use my anchor. I've got something that I was taught in my second hypnosis class, which was immediately following my first hypnosis class, because I just couldn't get enough. I'm still that way. And it was Dr. Richard Neves, if any of you have heard of him. And he was, at the time, the American Institute of Hypnotherapy out in California. He was, I think, the vice president, and Dr. Krasner was my first teacher. He was the head. And he did a class that he called it Advanced Hypnosis Techniques. But I found out later that year when I took an NLP class that it had a lot of NLP in it, because he created an anchor for me in that class. I rose my hand because I love to be the, you know, take me. Great opportunity to have someone work with you, right? Because that's the best way to learn, is to experience it. And he did an anchoring technique with me that just about blew the top of my head off. And it was amazing. And I had transferred what he did in the class into taking a breath and pressing fingers and thumbs together like this. That's just the way I do it, like that quick. And it just works. It works around family. That was the biggest challenge, was getting it to work around certain members in my family. And it really does work. And the trick is to trust. And just like with your client, if you can get them, if you can be congruent, you know, Michael Watson used to always say, and I don't think it came from him, but I can't remember, might have been Stephen Gilligan, that hypnosis is a ritual and congruity. a ritual, and congruity. That's what hypnosis is. So as the guide to that person, you're the expert in the room. If whatever you say to them, if you say it with congruity and with conviction, they're going to trust you, and they're going to say, oh, they're going to believe it. And then all you have to do is get them to follow through to prove to themselves this really does work. And in whatever way for that client it's going to work. But thinking on your feet, and all these are skills. They're lifetime skills that I will never stop working at getting better at. Finessing the languages, or I use those words quite often in classes. I'm constantly looking, when I read scripts, when I'm writing scripts, those are all exercises that can allow you to let your creative unconscious come up with even more ways to finesse the language, because hypnosis is a communication. And the more you can finesse the language for that person, the more ways you have of saying something, of course, then you're going to find a way that for that particular person is going to impact them the most. That's what you want. You don't want wishy-washy, and you don't, the unconscious doesn't want, oh, hummingbird, oh, there he is. I've been looking for him for weeks. I saw him about 3 weeks ago and hadn't seen him since. Sorry, got entranced there for a second. I love hummingbirds. Anyway, what was I saying? So it's about having, you know, as many ways of saying something. That's what Dr. Preston, the library technique guy in Arizona, he said, say something over and over as many different ways as you can. You know, incorporate all of the senses. You know, don't think that, you know, oh, this is a visual person, so I'm going to use mostly visual words. Because you know what? That day, they might just be more auditory or more kinesthetic. So cover all the bases. That's why that permissive language is so great, because it doesn't allow you to ever be wrong. If you tell a client, you may begin to notice a certain tingling in your fingers, or perhaps a numbness, or maybe no sensation at all. However you're experiencing this is just perfect for you. Simply accept it, even if you don't understand quite what it means yet. You know, you can say things. Now, they have nowhere to resist. There's nothing to fight against there. And their unconscious is going to be scanning everywhere for things that are going to kind of, you know, take them in directions that you just sent them. And I just trust 100% that the person's unconscious wants them to succeed, especially with health issues or psychological issues, which are all the same. You can't have a psychological issue without it affecting your physical, right? You can't have a physical issue without it affecting psychological, emotional, whatever that other realm is. They all affect, everything affects everything. So when we're working with a medical referral, we know it's something important enough that they're seeing a licensed person. I want to respect that, and I want to really get them to elevate the importance of what a difference it can be working with hypnosis, because we're teaching them how to access their own inner resources. And I want to elevate the importance of that in that first session before I ever start the induction, so that they already think, wow, you know, this is even more important than I thought. And what this person is doing is respecting that I'm the one that's going to make this change. And then they have it forever. They have those resources forever. It's very basic. I'm going to move through this pretty quickly, and I will send you these things too. Parts therapy for health. This is adapted for health issues. There are some basic assumptions. We talked about basic assumptions of working with hypnosis and neurolinguistics. You know, those basic things about nobody's broken. Everybody has the resources they need, and some of those other things from NLP that are nice to hold as you're working with clients. The idea with parts therapy is there are no bad parts. Like Eric was talking about it a little bit before, you know, people come in and feel broken and they say, can you get rid of, you know, can you do it? Michael Watson always says, can you do an exorcism and get rid of the part of me that's making me, you know, drink, or that's making me depressed, or that's making me have cancer, or whatever it is? Can you just exercise it, you know? And the assumption with parts therapy going into it that you hold, this is for you to hold in your energy working with the person. There is no bad parts. The part that's causing the disease or symptom is positively motivated. Now this is a concept I hope you all understand what that means. It doesn't mean they caused their cancer, because I've had people just even recently that came in and they have a problem now because of a metal toxicity from something that the doctor gave them. That's like a heavy metal toxicity thing going on. So obviously it came from out there into their body. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the part of them that isn't getting well, that isn't getting them to heal as fast. And again, you only do parts therapy if there's a dilemma or a conflict, right? Like I'm not doing as well with my diabetes as I should be because there's a part of me that, this kind of thing. So there's a push-pull going on. That's when you do parts. So the assumption is there's a part that's causing them to keep from healing, that's causing them to have the symptom or whatever, or the behavior in some cases. All parts, the other assumption is all parts want to work together. They all want to get along. All parts are willing to negotiate to get what they want. So again, they're all positively motivated. So to get what they're motivated by, they're willing to negotiate. The part that's winning is the strongest. And in most cases, if they're in a hypnotist's office, the part that's winning is the part that's giving them the addiction, or the part that's keeping them smoking, or the part that's keeping them from eating healthy if they have diabetes, or the part that's keeping them from going and exercising if they have a heart condition. The doctor says they need to exercise. The part that's giving them the disease, the migraines, whatever it is. That's the assumption. Again, it's not like we're going to tell the client this necessarily. It's something for us to hold. The part that's winning is the strongest, and that's going to be the part that's causing the problem. The part causing the disease or symptom has lost rapport with the client. Again, they hate that part of themselves. That's why we're not going to tell them that part really wants to do something good for you. It just doesn't make sense logically. So they've lost rapport. The person doesn't like the part of them that gave them cancer or migraines or whatever, of course, or depression. The winning part deserves respect and requires attention, just like a pain signal. If you ignore it and cover it up and pretend it isn't there and don't take care of what's causing it, what happens? It gets worse. It causes more problems, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And if the part causing the problem or the disease, the condition, is offered an opportunity to win, to actually get what it wants, another healthier way, it will take it. And that's because it comes from the unconscious mind. And the unconscious always moves in the direction of health. That's its natural tendency, is to move towards health. So we absolutely know if we give it another option, another behavior, another way to experience what they're experiencing that actually is healthy, that it will take that, as long as it's still getting what it wants. So you might say that we're looking at some of these things, the word secondary gain might come into your mind, depending on how you were trained, right? So the secondary gain, if somebody's got a disease or a symptom and they're getting a lot of support, a lot of moral support. I talk about a woman I worked with a few years ago that came to me as a referral for pain. And after a few sessions was doing great and lessening her pain. And at some point she stopped me and she said, now, we can't get rid of all my pain. Must have said that because of something I said to her, right? Because she was doing so well. And I said, really, why? She says, because if I do, my whole family and me, we're going to lose all of our financial support. She had been on disability. She had all these different things that she had lived for a few years on, and her whole family was her support system, helping to take care of her and living off of this money that she was getting, right? So at that point, I had to ask myself, am I morally and ethically okay with that? And of course I was, because it's not my choice to tell her what she should want. And she felt better. Her goal was to feel better so she could be more comfortable, but she didn't want to feel too good because she wasn't willing to give up. Her priority was to keep that financial. So that's what she did. She got her pain to where she could control it and make her life better, but yet she still had her financial stability. So again, you might call that secondary gain in that case, right? So, but if you give it a healthier way to get what it wants, the unconscious wants to take that. And again, it has to be with their approval, the conscious and the unconscious mind. So that's that. And that's very in line with the NLP version of parts. And I sent
one
you
more points.
I'm sorry?
May I put one more points in it?
Yeah, please.
It's just my thought. I would say the winning part doesn't know that it causes problem. Even if it knows it's caused problem, for example, maybe the part knows that it's killing the person, but it wouldn't realize that is a problem because the part wants sympathy. And if the person dies, he will get a lot of sympathy. So I think that's,
Yeah,
that's
when
another
people,
thing, but the
yeah,
part doesn't know that it caused
when
problem.
the position of being in a victim position, which literally means that they believe they're helpless to whatever their condition or disease is, brings a lot of sympathy. It brings a lot of support. These are people you'll find that they find a support group. That can get very comfortable, right, for the client. It can get so comfortable that it's more uncomfortable to move out of that, even if they aren't happy with what's going on with them. So, and these are all parameters, of course. If they're coming to us for help, then we have permission to help them to go from the victim side to the victor side, and to find ways to still get whatever that support or that sympathy is that they had been getting, or to get something even better in a more healthy way, right?
Yeah, that's
So it can be helpful if they're aware that they have that secondary gain, we can have that conversation. A lot of people just aren't aware of it too, of course. So it's up to us to get them to see what their priorities are, what's most important to them. And if they ask us for help, then we know that we can help them to fulfill some of those needs with parts therapy. If there is still a conflict at the unconscious level, we can help them to figure out how to fulfill whatever that need is that might not be in their awareness, and to have it filled in a more healthy way. That's the whole premise behind parts therapy.
I don't know how anybody else feels, but I'd love it if you demoed it.
Well, that's what I'm hoping to do here.
Yeah,
That's what I'm hoping to do. This is what I sent you is the basic outline for parts.
Yes.
It's done in a light trance state because you need them to talk. This is one that's done in a very light trance. And just the process of going through it, I don't usually even do an induction, frankly. It says do a simple induction to light trance. The process itself creates trance, because as they get more and more involved, of course, that creates trance. Just like when you get involved with reading a book, you go more and more into that state, right? So by getting them involved in the process, in other words, focused on it and developing the process, that's what's going to create the trance. So yeah, does anyone here have a dilemma? Now, I don't want to do therapy here, obviously. But does anyone here have a push-pull kind of a thing that we can do to role play? Again, we're not doing therapy because we don't have time, and I don't want to open up anything and leave somebody hanging. So something that's a push-pull, that's a dilemma kind of thing, that's mildly in the realm of medical hypnosis, maybe. Yeah.
I don't know if it's in the medical realm, but it's probably something most people have in their life. It's just that push-pull of, eating sugar and not eating sugar.
Oh, okay.
Like that's the only one that I can think of that comes to mind right now.
I'm going to use that just for the sake of time.
Sure. Yeah, it's pretty simple.
And I'm going to, as much as possible, stick very short, and this will be abbreviated from what I would do with a client.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hopefully touch on all the elements here. Nicholas is laughing. So this will be the speed version of parts integration. And Nicole, you're going to be my practice person, right? And you're talking about a part of you. Give me the two sides. One side wants what, and the other side's doing what?
Okay. One part of me is indulging in, high sugary, high caloric foods. And the other part of me is training really hard and wanting to achieve some physical and sporting goals, but just getting in the way. So.
Okay, so you have a part of you that has these physical goals, sporting goals, and another part of you that's sabotaging it. That's perfect for parts integration. So go ahead and take a nice easy breath and just center yourself. You can close your eyes if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's easier up front, but you don't really have to right now. So your eyes are closed, that's good. So what I'd like to ask you to do, now I'm trying to figure out how to get the two of us on screen, and I can't quite figure out how to do that. That's okay, we'll just keep going. Okay, get in touch with the part of you that wants those goals, that wants those sports and physical goals. That's probably an easy part to get in touch with, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm going to ask you to put your hands on your lap or the arms of your chair, wherever they are. I can't see them, but that doesn't matter. And put them with palms up so that you have them with your palms up, resting there. Got that?
Yep.
Okay, good. So get in touch with that part that wants all these goals and ask it if it would be willing to just come out and converse with us so we can congratulate it, and have it come out as if it could step out of you, so to speak, and just go sit on your right hand. Now, we would have done the pre-talk, which I don't have time for, but she already knows I'm not talking about, this is just the aspect of your personality that wants that goal. And imagine as if it could just step right out and go on that right hand, and open your eyes and just look at your right hand. And just imagine if it's sitting there, that part that wants these goals, you know what they are in detail. That's the part that wants those. What does it look like? How does it come to you?
It comes out to me in like energy and as a big figure, really, of myself. I just see myself.
Big figure with a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very nice. And I would elicit more submodalities at this point, which means I would ask her, like how much does it weigh? What is it moving? Does it have color? All those things. We don't really need to do that, but it's a figure of you. Yeah. And it has energy, of course. So ask it. I want you to just pretend as if you're just kind of separate now and kind of in neutral territory back there away from that part, almost as if it's separated from you now. And just ask that part that wants you to have those goals, what would it like us to call it as we converse? And just take the first thing that comes to you.
Energy.
Energy. Okay, so thank you, Energy, for coming out to converse with us. And Nicole, go ahead and thank it out loud and just say thank you for coming out.
Thank you for coming out.
Very
Energy.
nice. Good. So now, Energy. What I want to do is, first of all, congratulate you for wanting all these wonderful things for Nicole. And I'm going to ask you, you've been working hard to get them for her, obviously. And I'm just wondering, what is it that you want for Nicole through getting these goals for her? What's your highest intention, positive intention for Nicole through having her achieve these goals? And I want you to listen, Nicole. You're going to be the voice, but I want you to get the answer from Energy.
Satisfaction.
Okay.
Ability.
Okay. So thank you, Energy. If you get satisfaction and ability for Nicole, what do you think that would give her? What's the higher intention behind wanting her to be satisfied and have ability? Is there a higher intention that if she had that, what would that give her?
Self-belief.
Self-belief. Okay. So she had all of those things, ability and all of that, and self-belief. If you got all of that for Nicole, I wonder if there's an even higher intention. What would she have if she had all of that? What would you be giving her by getting her to have all of those things?
Complete confidence.
Complete confidence, self-belief, ability, all those things. Wonderful. So if she had self-belief and confidence and ability and all of these things, I wonder if there's an even higher intention. I wonder if there's something even beyond that that Nicole would then have. A higher intention that would incorporate all of those things.
Trust.
Trust like in herself? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah. So self-trust, self-belief, ability, all those things. So if you were to succeed, because you're working so hard to get all of those things for Nicole, is there an even higher intention? Is there something that would incorporate all of those things? What would she be or have if she got all of that? What would you be getting for her? What would she have or be that has all of that? Something that would incorporate all of those things. What's the highest intention?
I think the only thing that comes to mind here, or what is coming to mind, is myself, yourself.
Yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you would have yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're getting that from energy, right?
Mm.
Not from inside your own head. So keep your focus on energy.
It's from
And
energy.
thank energy for wanting you to have yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Does that feel like the highest intention? Because that sounds pretty all-encompassing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And it's just one word, but I know it means a whole lot more than what that one word sounds like it means.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell by your energy that that's a very high intention. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you, energy, for coming out and giving us that. And just hang out there on Nicole's right hand, and we'll be back with you in a minute. We're going to ask you to help us in a minute. Okay. So, Nicole, now I'm going to talk to you again. And just close your eyes and go inside again.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that energy has been in conflict with another, so to speak, another part of you. It's been, because you said there's this other part now that's been kind of sabotaging whatever energy's been working on there. So I want you to tap into that part of you. And I know that may not be a part of you that you're really comfortable or happy with or have been. So we're not going to judge it. We're not going to talk about its methods it's been using or anything, but just we want to understand it. We want to, because it's a part of you. It's been working hard, so it must want something for you. Mm-hmm. And so with real respect, I want to ask you to tap into that part and ask if it would be willing to just come out and have a conversation. Again, we're not going to try to change it. We're not going to berate it or say it was wrong or anything. We just want to understand it better. And would it be willing now to come out and sit on your left hand under those conditions? Mm-hmm. Great, because we want to respect it. It's a part of you, and it's a strong part of you. So open your eyes and let it come out on your left hand and just focus on it. And again, you get back to neutral. Just let it be out there on your left hand. And as you look at that part on your left hand, how does it present itself to you? Just take whatever comes.
As a ball.
A ball?
Mm-hmm.
You said a ball? Okay, what kind of ball is it? How big is it?
It's small, like a tennis ball.
Like a tennis ball.
And
Does it
it's
have
black.
a color?
Yeah, it's black.
Black? Okay, very good. So ask the black ball out there what it would like for us to call it for purposes of this discussion, since it agreed to have a conversation with us. And just take whatever comes to you. What name would it like us to call it?
Anxiety.
Anxiety. That's an interesting name. Okay. All right. And now what I want you to do, first of all, I want to congratulate anxiety, because it's doing a great job. It's really a strong part of you, and it's been winning a lot, hasn't it? It's a strong part, yeah. In fighting energy over there, it's been winning a lot of the time. So I want you to congratulate it and just tell it thank you for coming out to let us understand it better.
Thank you. Anxiety.
There you go. So anxiety, now I'm going to talk to anxiety, and you can listen in, and again, stay neutral as possible without judgment, just kind of stay back there and wait for anxiety to give you the answers, because I know that anxiety is a part of you, and that tells me that it must want something for you, because it's been working really hard. Like I said, it's really been working hard, and it's been winning, this fight some of the time. I'm just curious, why is it working so hard for you? What is it, since it's a part of you, what is it positive that it's looking to get for you by what it's been doing? And again, we're not talking about its methods. I'm just curious what it wants for you from what it's been doing. And let it tell you. Keep your eyes open and look at it. And don't let it come from inside of you. Let it come from anxiety. From the ball anxiety.
Relaxation.
Oh, it wants you to be relaxed. That's a pretty good thing for it to want for you. So thank you, anxiety, for wanting Nicole to relax. That's a pretty good intention. It's nice to know a part of you wants you to relax, right? Okay. And it wants you to. So again, we're not talking about methods. We're talking about what it wants for you. If it gets you to relax, what does it think that'll give you?
A voice.
A voice. Oh, okay. So it wants you to relax and have a voice. Those sound like pretty nice things to want for you. Worth fighting for, I would think. So if it wants you to relax and have a voice, what if it got that for you, is there, I wonder if there's a higher intention. Is there something more that you would have if you had a voice and if you had the ability to relax? What would you be, or what would you have if you had that? What does anxiety want for you by giving you those things?
Just the word myself comes back to mind again.
Yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other one was self. Is this different than the other self, or is this?
I feel like it's the same thing.
Oh, okay. But it's coming as myself. Is that what it was?
Yeah, well, myself, yeah.
Nice, nice. Okay, isn't that interesting? Okay, now what I want you to do, Nicole, I'm going to talk to you again. First of all, thank anxiety for wanting that for you. That's a wonderful goal. That's a nice goal. So let them sit out there for a minute. I'm going to ask you, Nicole, here, to talk to me for a second. Just let them hang out there. Because what I want them to do is kind of look at each other. I want anxiety and energy to just kind of look across at each other. Are they doing that?
Yeah.
And you stay neutral. You don't need to know what they're doing, because I have a funny feeling that they just discovered something interesting, because I certainly did, and I think you probably were a little surprised. And what I want you to do is just ask energy out there. Was energy aware that anxiety, the one that energy's been fighting, wanted the same goal? Albeit they obviously had different methods they were using, but was energy even aware that the part it's been fighting wanted the same thing for you as it does?
No.
No. How about anxiety? Ask anxiety as it looks over at energy that it's been fighting so hard against. Was it aware that energy wanted the exact same thing that it's been trying to get for you?
No.
They didn't know that, did they? Okay. So just let them take a minute now to look across at each other and to at least, which they must now, find value in what the other one that they've been fighting, to find value in what the other one wants for you. They must be able to do that because they both want the same thing. Let them just come to that recognition. And I'm going to ask you now, Nicole, as they are out there connecting and realizing things. Nicole, what I want to ask you is, with anxiety and Nicole, come out here with me first.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm here.
Yeah,
sorry.
they'll do their own thing. That's okay.
I was kind of focused, sorry.
yeah, she's in trance, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. With anxiety and energy fighting the way they've been doing inside of you, have they been getting that self in the way they meant it? Have they been getting that for you by fighting?
I think that they have been beginning to get that.
By fighting?
No, not by fighting.
Oh, okay. Because they're, they both want the same thing, it sounds like.
Yeah.
There is a conflict, so yeah. So they're not really succeeding very well by fighting each other, because they both got different ideas of how to get that for you, obviously, right? Okay, so here's what I'm going to ask them now. You can focus on them again. And I want to ask anxiety and energy if they would be willing to, we've kind of called a truce here, a temporary truce in the fight, because they're not fighting right now. They're appreciating that they both want the same thing. What I'd like to do now is ask them both, since I want you to let them know, first of all, that with them fighting inside of you, they're not getting that for you. And just tell them that. Just let them know that.
Yep. Can I say it in my mind, or do you want me to say it out loud?
Out loud's nice.
Yeah, you guys aren't giving me what I need.
They're not reaching the intention they want for you. They're not getting it. Good.
Nope.
Okay, because they need to know that what they're doing isn't working. So here's what I would like to propose to anxiety and energy. I would like to propose that if I was to offer an opportunity that they might actually get self as you understand them to mean that. If they were to get that for you, yourself, self, would they be interested in an experiment to see if trying something new might actually get that for you, with the understanding that if it doesn't work, they can just go back to what they were doing? Would they be interested in trying something different since what they've been doing isn't working?
Yep.
Got agreement from both of them?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay. So here's what I'm going to ask you. You know, you have a creative part, don't you, Nicole?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Oh, you know what's really cool about the creative part? I love the creative part because it only has one job. And its only job is to come up with new ideas that nobody else ever thought of before, right? What a cool job, right? Just new ideas that nobody ever thought of. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and tap into your creative part. Just as if you could tap right into that pure part of you that is the creative part. That's its only job. And when you open your eyes, let it come out and kind of hover just above the other two, right in the middle, right above them. And just let that creative part come out and hover right between energy and anxiety, just a little bit above the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me how, I don't know, I'm curious, how does your creative part present itself?
As like a figure with wings.
Beautiful. Ooh, a figure
Yeah.
with wings. How cool. You know,
Yeah.
the creative part's very creative, so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's the proposal I have. The creative part, its job is to come up with, you know, it does this all the time behind the scenes. New ideas nobody ever thought of. And since what anxiety and energy been doing haven't been getting you what that self, that yourself, what you want, what they want for you, that for the next, let's say for the next month, that they're gonna combine energy and anxiety and creativity. All of those parts are going to combine and form a team, just a temporary team for the next month. And the idea is that they're going to go back inside in a few moments as a team working together. And the idea is that in the next, say, 24 hours, that creativity, the creative part's going to send out it can do this at lightning speed, just thousands of ideas a minute of how to make you get to that self, what that means to you, that self. And new ideas to get you there, new ways to get you there, new behaviors, new thoughts, whatever. And this is all going to be done behind the scenes as you're busy about your life. And so for the next 24 hours, it'll shoot out thousands of ideas even while you're sleeping. And here's the rule, that if either anxiety or energy, if one of them don't like it, it instantly gets rejected. That's it. But that they will come up with, let's say, between 3 to 5 that they both agree on. And only if they both agree on them, that within 24 hours, they might do it within an hour or 10 minutes, I don't know, but within 24 hours, that they'll have between 3 and 5 new ideas of how to get you that self. Only they're going to do it as a team, that they'll all work together then on those 3 to 5 ideas for the next month. And the only goal is to get that self, you to that state that word represents. And like I said, it'll all be happening behind the scenes. You may notice on a conscious level from time to time a new behavior, a new thought, a new idea come to you, you know, just impressions, thoughts and things. And you'll kind of recognize when it's in line with what they're working on. And you can just kind of say, oh, thank you, team. You know, and you can say, oh, that's the team. It's working. Look, I got a new idea. I got a new thought. I got a new behavior here that just showed up. And you'll know that's them acting on what they came up with. And then you can thank them, you know, in a nice way and say, good, keep going with that. I like that. And for the next month, they'll just work on that. And then if after a month, either anxiety or energy don't like the results, that they have the right to go back and whatever they were doing, even though it wasn't working, but they could do that. So, but at least this way, there's a possibility they'll succeed. So ask them both if they would be willing under those conditions to go in in a moment with the creative part and work on that for the next month. Yeah, they both excited about that.
Yep.
All right. So I don't know. I can't see your hands, but if they'd like to come together in some way, there you go. Let them go ahead, since they're a team now. Let them come together with creativity, and just it's nice to kind of bring them inside of you in some way that feels right. Let them come back inside, because after all, they're all a part of you, and they're meant to be integrated and, you know, working together in there. So for the next month at least, they'll really be working hard, and their only goal in life, that team's goal, is to get you to that state of self. How's that feel?
Feels good.
Nice to know that there's all these parts working together for the next month. So the truce is going to last a month, and we'll see what happens. And like I said, on a conscious level, your job is just to notice, to watch for, expect little things that'll be different, little ideas that come to you, little feelings or something, behaviors, and to appreciate them when they happen and ask for more. Thank them and ask for more. Yes? That's it. I may have skipped a couple of steps, but that's the fast, short version. So, any questions? That was really fast, but I think it was still good.
It was good. I was
smiling. Look, I mean,
yeah. I surprised myself with the answers.
Yeah,
out of
good.
both sides. I wasn't really expecting that at all. I did
That's what
open
you
up
want. Because if your client's surprised by the answers, that means it really did come from the unconscious, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I could tell she was tuned in. You didn't have to go to deep trance. You were there, right?
Yeah.
Eyes open, talking. It's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Powerful. Now that would be a piece of a session. It probably wouldn't be the whole session, because after that, I'd like to take them into a deeper level now and start to really reinforce, you know, give some post-hypnotic suggestions that in the coming hours and days, you're going to just notice every now and then a creative thought comes to you, or a behavior, or, you know, I'll reinforce all of that so that as they come, you know, expectation is there and asking for more, and just knowing that team's hard at work to get the intention. And you notice, once I got the intentions, the behavior was never mentioned again, because it's not about the behavior or the condition or the disease or anything else. It's about the intention of the parts when you're doing parts therapy. It's the intention of the parts. And once they're working together on the same thing to get her something positive, that other stuff is just background noise until some new ideas come to the surface and take over for whatever was happening. More and more with every day, better and better in every way.
How long would you normally spend on that?
I'm sorry?
How long would you normally spend on that in the session? Would it normally be
a little longer than I did. I just was moving faster.
like an
I might not even do that much more verbally than I did then, but it would be a little slower and easier, because it's going to be a client that's, well, you know, it really is funny though, because when I first started working with this stuff, I thought they're going to think I'm crazy if I ask them to make, you know, it's like objectifying pain, right? Turn it into an object. It's like, what are you talking about? But I'm amazed at how they already do. That's those internal representations. It already is an internal representation. You're just helping them to form it into some, you know, logical level, an object. And the reason we objectify it is because now you can do stuff with it, right? Now it's a thing. It's not the problem anymore. It's a thing. It's a ball. It's a ball of energy over here, and it's, what was it? No, it was a black ball over here, and it was whatever the other one was.
It was a figure.
A figure. And then creativity showed up, and wow, wings and everything. So.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too. I honestly just let whatever come to my mind come to my mind.
Yeah, and I could tell she was doing that, you know, and sometimes moving quickly keeps them, you don't want to give them a lot of time to think, because if the person's in front of you, you can always tell when they start going inside for the answer. And I will sit there and physically do this. I'll say, no, I want you to stay separate now. You just stay neutral. You know, you let them answer, and I'll keep pointing at the thing. I want their focus out. Dissociation is critical in this case. And I'm kind of surprised, because I've never done this on a video. Even with you at one of 6 pictures, I still could tell that you were there with it. and I couldn't see your hands, I didn't need to. So it still works. You can still tell when somebody's going internal to think. Once in a while, I thought you closed your eyes. If they close their eyes, you know they're going internal.
Yeah.
So with this process, once I get the objects out here, my goal is to keep their eyes open unless I'm getting her to go back in to tap into the creative part or something else. But I want her focus out here, like here's this one and here's that one, and they're the ones that have all the answers, and I'm just back here, neutral observer, right? That's the goal. But you can facilitate it in person, but you know, if you see them going it cerebral to find an answer, I just will say, just wait and let them answer. Just be patient. Let them tell you. Now, if they take too long with a name, that's one place where it's not that important. Usually they come up with one right away, though. It's amazing. If they don't come up with an object right away, you can say things like, well, if it were to be an object, what do you imagine it would be? They're just using their imagination. So you want to use some language then to encourage them, you know, oh, I can't imagine what it would be. Well, if you could imagine, just pretend that you could imagine. What do you think it might be? What do you think that's something that's making you eat sugar? What do you imagine it would look like? You know, just you can encourage it a little bit more, but I've never really had to do that. If you trust the process, they always come up with something, because again, that's what our mind does with it anyway, because the unconscious doesn't type words and letters and, you know, put sentences together. It's just coming up with a representation that doesn't need to have any logical, sequential, rational meaning to the conscious mind. That's why stuff showed. I love it when they say everything she said is perfect. It just showed up. That means that's her unconscious. It's perfect.
Yeah, for the anxiety side, the name, I consciously for a split second I didn't want that to be.
Yeah, you were going to question it. And by the way, you go with whatever they say and don't respond emotionally. It's not right, wrong, good, bad. It's just, okay, that's what it is. Fine. But I have had people, I've had people one time at least, I know I had someone say, it's the devil. You know, on the other side was the devil, right? And it's like, oh, okay. What would it like us to call it? Beelzebub, I don't know. Whatever they said, you know, I just went with it. But by the end of the process, actually about halfway through, they looked at me and they said, it wants to change its name, which made me very happy. But, you know, I just was still neutral. Oh, really? Well, what would it like us to call it now? And then it was something else a little softer. And I thought, well, that was nice. So I was curious if that might happen with you, but it didn't. But that's okay. You know, yeah. Whatever they say, go with it. I just assume the intention is what's important. And that's what I wanted to lock in on. And 99 times out of 100, I'm stubborn enough that I will work on both of them until they get the same intention. Exactly. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. One might come up with, want her to be happy. The other one might say, I want her to have more joy. You know, that's close enough maybe. And I might force it a little by saying, well, joy, that sounds an awful lot like happy, doesn't it? You know, I might get a little agreement there on that, just to emphasize that it really is the same thing kind of thing. But, you know, that if you're stubborn, 99 times out of 100, they will end up with the same thing on both sides. And that's what you want. So the same are very similar, because then they can't fight anymore. If they both want the same thing, there's nothing to fight about now. It's like, oh, that's what you wanted, you know, it's like that diffuses it. And then when you give them the opportunity to actually get it, because neither of them's going to get it for you by, as long as they're in there doing this, that internal struggle. So I know we've gone overtime. Everybody's looking at their clocks, I can see. So was that helpful? Hopefully I did it fast, but I enjoyed it. I think Nicole enjoyed it.
I did enjoy
Interesting
that.
to see how that works for you the next few days and weeks before we see you again. See
I can give everyone an update next time.
Excellent.
I'll be excited to hear how well it's going. Even, you know, it's just a demo, but hey, it works. Okay, I'm going to be sending you guys a lot of stuff. I don't want to hold you up. We're gonna do it again. We're gonna do July 5th. Yay! I'm happy about that. And then you will be finished by the 19th. So keep in mind your outside assignments. You will have one more exam, and I will send that to you early, probably before the next class, so you can be working on it. One more outside assignment I'm going to send you that healthy mind and healthy body and brain, whatever it's called, my script. I'm going to send you that one to look at, to do the analysis of. If you want to use that with a client, or the idea of that, you don't have to read a script to your clients. But if you, I would love for you to do this modified version of a parts integration.
Mhm.
You know, and give yourself flexibility. But the important elements are, you got to really respect that part that they don't like. That's the most important part, because that's the one you got to get on board and get rapport with, and get it to agree. Because the other one already wants her to get the thing that she is happy about, right? So I'd love if you'd use that as your second private session. And I think that's it. And I'm going to send you that audio to listen to, because it has the cellular universe. If you want to listen to that, you might get some ideas on working with, because it definitely is for things going on inside of the cells of the body. It's great for immune system stuff, in my opinion, and that kind of stuff. So get to the source of the blueprint, as we say. So thank you all. You're all wonderful, and you've done great, and I appreciate it, and thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Happy Father's Day if you're a father. Hi, thank you. And we'll
Bye,
see you on
everyone.
the 5th. If you have any questions before then, you all know you can contact me.
All right.
Take care.
Bye, everybody. Thank
Bye,
you so
everyone.
much. Have a great Sunday.
Thank you.
You
Bye-bye.
guys too. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.